ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك وعلى ولدك الشهيد المظلوم علي الأكبر المقطع بالسيوف إربا إربا. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارتهم وفي الآخرة شفاعتهم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Enlighten your hearts and your majalis, and for the hastening of the reappearance of our Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this holy verse, if my servants ask you about me, then I am near, I am close by. I answer the prayers of those that pray. I answer the call of those that call. So let them answer when I call them, and let them follow my rulings so that they may be guided and be on the righteous path. Asking questions is the topic of tonight's lecture. You find that many things in our life begin with a question. If it hasn't happened yet, then we should implement this in our life. We find that a single question was the reason for certain revolutions. Why are we poor when they are living very comfortably and they are rich? Why can we not vote and they can vote? Why are we being ruled by a corrupt government? Many revolutions begin with a question. Just like that, a question can also spark a change in ideology. How so? There was a brother of ours that lives in Sydney, a friend. He says he was of the Sunni sect. He was one of the followers of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And he was always of the idea that the Shia do not love the Ahl al-Bayt as much as them, the Sunnah. So he said, I was always of that idea. One day, he wanted to pray. He was in a new area. So he walked into a mosque. First time ever. He said, I walked in there at the time of prayer. Slowly people started walking in and carrying what later he learned to be a turba, the piece of clay that we pray on. He said, what's this? And then he realized they were praying with their hands down. I think the fan's on. They were praying with their hands down. So he said, wait, I must be in the wrong place. I'm in a Shia mosque. He said, look, I stayed there. I decided to pray and watch how things happen. He said, I sat down after I finished my prayer and I was looking at them. And remember, this person was of the idea that the Sunnah love the Ahlul Bayt, the progeny of the Holy Prophet, more than the Shia. So he said, I sat down there. Every component of their prayer, they're saying, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. They finish their qunut, they say it. They do their ruku', they say it. They do their sujood, they say it. In their tashahud, they say it. After the salah, they say it. In every part of their prayer, they are performing the blessings upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. So he said, I started asking myself, how do I say that I love the Ahlul Bayt more when these people have it in their prayers? This brother is now a Shia and he's a very active person in the Shia community. One question, he asked himself, how is it that they are like this and I believed I love the Ahlul Bayt more? It allowed him to change his ideology, to follow the truth. One question. Another question can lead someone to a new invention. Thinking of an issue, how can I solve this issue? Seeing a problem in the community, how can I fix this problem? Thomas Edison, he thought to himself, how can I create light without fire? What did he create? Who knows? The light bulb. Create the light bulb. A question is the beginning of many things. In the same way, before a discovery is usually a heart that didn't want to stay silent. In the mid-1800s, there was an issue in certain countries that many women were dying after giving birth to a child. Why? Because of diseases and germs that were spreading, but they didn't know about germs and diseases that were spreading because of things that people touched and then was consumed by them. So there was a doctor by the name of, he was a Hungarian doctor by the name of Itans Sumaville or something like that. I can't remember his name. He's a Hungarian doctor. He said, I was in a department where many women were dying. He decided to look into it. They were of the ideology that germs and diseases came through because of bad air or curses. But he had a hypothesis. He said that this could be because of people going from different departments and transporting diseases. He introduced that every single person had to wash their hands with a chloric solution. He was able to drastically bring down the deaths. How? By questioning it. Asking a question is usually the beginning of many things. So, the types of questions that people can possibly ask. Not every question is always a genuine, purposeful question, as you may know. Some people ask mocking questions, which in Arabic is known as sukhriya. ask a question where the purpose of this question is just to make fun of someone else. In the Q&A that was submitted, one person said, what do I do to a friend that's always mocking my religion and always making fun of it, making jokes about it? There's people that will answer that, inshallah, on Saturday. Won't give you the answer now, otherwise we'll miss half of the attendance. So there are people that ask for the purpose of mocking. The Quran gives us an example. It says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُ كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءُ أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ السُّفَهَاءُ. That when they are told to follow religion, they do what? They say, do we believe like the fools believed? It's a question. But the whole purpose of this question is to mock someone else. The whole purpose of this question is to make in fun of someone else's belief, not to learn. There's no purpose behind this question. So the first type of question is mocking. They are told to believe. They say, do we believe like the fools do believe? The second form of questions is known as delaying questions. What's this? When I explain it to you, you're going to understand exactly what this means. Delaying questions, in Arabic known as murawagha. I'm sitting down. I'm doing whatever I need to do. You're studying maybe, you're playing a game, or you're watching a movie, or you're busy with work. Your parents, your father, your mother come in, they tell you, go and buy milk. Oh, yep. What kind of milk do you want? Even though you know exactly what kind of milk they want. Yeah, what kind of milk do you want? Where do you want me to buy it from? And you're just doing what you need to do. What's the expiry date of the milk? Why are we asking such questions? These questions are just delaying questions. They're not there to serve a purpose. What's the example in the Quran? The example is the story. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The example for this in the Quran is the story of the people of the cow. What's the story of the cow? Who knows this? The story of the cow. One person was killed. And they wanted to know who killed this person. They went to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Who killed this man? He told them, go and kill a cow. Go and kill a cow. They thought he was making fun of them. If they had went and killed any cow, then that would have solved their problem. What did they do? They delayed. They asked delaying questions. What color is this cow? How old is this cow? What does this cow look like? Questions that are not there to serve a purpose. They are just there to delay the process. Delaying questions. Let's not make our questions that of delaying questions. Let's make sure our questions are there to serve a purpose. That's the second type. The third type of questions is questions that are linked to worldly hesitation. How so? Sometimes people know what the truth is. You know what the truth is, and you know what is false. But an individual knows something is haram, and their conscience is telling them it's haram, but they really want to do it. Many examples might come to your mind. I won't give an example. Your conscience tells you this is haram, but the person really wants to do it. So they say, what should I do? They ask themselves many questions. How haram can this be? How bad could this really be? The question is not there to serve a purpose. The question is just there to try and quiet down the conscience to try and make the person feel better. Questions related to worldly hesitations. What's the example of this? And I see this a lot, especially with, let's say some of the scholars that say crypto is haram. People that follow that marja' start to find ways and methods to make this halal for themselves. If you follow a marja', a scholar that says something is haram, don't do it. It's full stop. Let's not make excuses for us just so we feel better on the inside. The example is Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'anahullah. Umar ibn Sa'ad took the army to fight Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. What was he promised in return? Who knows? He was promised the kingship of Ray, which is known as Iran nowadays, or maybe smaller than Iran, more the Tehran region. The kingship of Ray, he was promised this. Go and fight Abi Abdullah, we will give you Ray. He went there. Do you think he didn't know what was right and what was wrong? He knew exactly what was right and what was wrong. Yet, he said, what did he say? He said, أَأَتْرُكُمُ الْكَرَّيْ وَالْرَيُّ مُنْيَتِي أَمْ أَرْجِعُ مَأْثُومًا بِقَتْلِ حُسَيْنِ. Do I leave Ray, the kingship, when this is my hope? Or do I return with the guilt of killing Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? What did he decide to do? He decided to go with that. Did he end up getting what he wanted? No. He would go every day, go to the castle of Ibn Ziyad, alayhi al-la'na. He'd go to his castle. Where's the kingship of Ray? You promised me. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, day after. Until he was killed and he was paralyzed, then he was killed in his bed. Didn't get what he wanted. He tried to silence his conscience by saying that if it's true what they say, that there is heaven and there is hell, then I will perform tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 2 years' time. He died before he was able to fulfill the tawbah. Questions related to worldly hesitation. That's the third type of questions. The fourth type of questions, and this is where it becomes better. The types of questions become better. It is the sincere questions. Sincere questions is a question that comes with a purpose. A question that the person actually wants an answer for. Not a delaying question. Not a worldly hesitation question. Not a mocking question. What's an example of this? The Quran says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. That, O Prophet, they ask you what they should give. So tell them, the Quran gives the answer as well, قُلِ الْعَفُوِ. That tell them the best of what you can give is forgiveness. Going to open brackets here. A generous person is not someone that always gives from the wealth they have. A generous person is someone that also can forgive other people. Not forgive other people when they are in the wrong. Forgive other people when someone else has caused some sort of inconvenience for them. Forgiving is the best of what you can give. يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. A sincere question. This question was so sincere that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recorded this question in the Holy Quran. Sincere questions. A sincere question. Another example of this is the example of Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. Al-Hurr was an example for his time, an example for many generations to come. What did he say? He was in the camp of the enemies, standing there thinking to himself, I am the one that caused Abi Abdullah to be in the situation he's in. I am the one that stopped him and made him come to Karbala. He came with 1,000 people. So imagine how bad he would have felt for what he did. He stood there when the enemies, 30,000 people and over, were standing in front of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. He stood there. One of the enemies told him, I see you trembling, Hur. Why are you trembling? If they were to ask me who is the bravest of the Arabs, then I would have said, I would have not doubted you. Why are you trembling? Al-Hur said, I question myself between heaven and hell. And then he said, I do not choose anything over heaven. And he marched towards the camp of Abi Abdullah. He sat on his knees. He crawled, took off his armor. He crawled to Abi Abdullah. Abi Abdullah, halli min tawbah. Is there a tawbah for me? Can I seek repentance for what I've done? Asked himself one question. Do I choose hell or do I choose heaven? One sincere question. Allow this person to be from the most cursed people? Potentially could have been a person that would have been cursed to a man that's praised by us every Muharram. Salamullah alayhi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The other type of questions. Now we're up to number 5, okay? And I'll stop after this. We'll move into the actual topic. The 5th type of questions is the questions that awake the conscience of people. Sometimes you might ask a question, but it allows someone else to figure out the truth. What's an example of this? Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. After the story with Fir'aun, he went to a city. He went inside a temple. Inside this temple, people were worshipping the stars. So he sat down with them and he wanted to send a message. But the prophets are creative. They don't just provide one method of teaching people. Listen to how creative he was. They were worshipping the stars, looking up to the stars. He brought his hand up to the sky and he was praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pretending like he was joining them in their prayers. He was praying to Allah. When the stars disappeared, they went away. He said, what's this? How can I worship something that disappears? I'm not going to worship the stars anymore. And then in the next day, the moon came out. He looked at the moon. People started worshipping the moon. People in this temple. Again, he started worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pretending in front of them that he's worshipping with them, worshipping the moon. When the moon disappeared and the day came out, he said, I don't worship something that disappears, something that doesn't control itself. The sun came out, pretended to worship the sun. The sun went. What did he say? He said, وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا. That I have turned my face towards the one that created the skies and the earth. And he only is worth of worship. He allowed them to ask a question. Wait, he questioned their minds by an action he was performing. Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. What did he ask the enemies? He told them, أَلَا مَا تُقَاتِلُونَنِي? Why do you fight me? Why? One of the questions in the Q&A was, why did Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam have this many enemies? And I'll give you the answer for this now. If the person that submitted this question is here, here's your answer. Imam al-Hussein asked this question. He told them, why do you fight me? Am I changing a religion? Am I changing a belief? What did they respond? نقاتلك بغضا منا لأبيك. They had enmity towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. We fight you because we have enmity towards your father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's what they responded. They had nothing against Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Why did they have enmity against Amir al-Mu'mineen? Amir al-Mu'mineen was the one that stood with Rasulullah. He is the one that killed their forefathers that were fighting Rasulullah. He's the one that defended Islam when there was no other protector for Islam. He killed their forefathers, and now they are here to kill him. That's why I open brackets again. When the Hashemites, when Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam and the caravan of Abi Abdullah went to Yazid after the aftermath of Karbala, he started saying his poetry. Layta ashyakhi bi badrin shahidu. That I wish my grandfathers from Badr and Uhud saw what I have accomplished now. What have you accomplished? Your forefathers were not able to kill Amir al-Mu'mineen. You gathered 30,000 people to kill 72. The Imam asked them a conscience awakening question. Why do you kill me? Now, as for the topic, this was a long introduction. The topic is not going to be long, inshallah. The first question is going to be, how does the Quran and the narrations encourage us to ask questions? Number two, the importance of asking questions. And number three, we are in the age of answers, but are we asking the right questions to the right people? And we'll begin with a lot salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Firstly, how does the Quran and the narrations encourage us to ask questions? The Quran, it encourages us by documenting all the questions that were asked to the Holy Prophets. We started off with one. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. If my servants were to ask you about me, then I am near. I'm close by. The other question, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. And they ask you about the moons. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. They ask you, what should we give? If asking questions wasn't important, then the Quran would have not encouraged me to ask questions. Not only it documents, the Quran could have documented the answers alone, but the Quran documents the questions. It wants us to realize that there are things that started with a question. The only way to obtain an answer is through a question. There are many questions. There's only 3 examples. There are many questions that are documented in the Holy Quran. Now, how about the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt? How do they encourage us to ask questions? Firstly, there's a narration from Imam Redha alayhi salam. He says, قال رسول الله العلم خزائن ومفاتحه السؤال. Knowledge is a treasure. What's the key to that treasure? Knowledge is a treasure. What's the key to that treasure? Asking questions. That's what Imam Redha alayhi salam says. And then he continues. He says, فَاسْأَلُوا يَرْحَمْكُمُ اللَّهِ. So ask, so that Allah may have mercy upon you. فإنه يُجَر فيه أربعة. 4 people are rewarded when questions are asked. 4 people benefit. Number 1 is the person that asks, al-sa'il. وَالْمُعَلِّمْ وَالْمُسْتَمِعْ وَالْمُحِبْ لَهُم. The first person that benefits is the person that asks the question. The second person that benefits is the person that gives the answer. Why? Because teaching and providing information is like learning twice. Teaching is learning twice. Because you have to learn once when you learn the answer, you ask the question, and then when you provide the answer, you learn again. That's the second person that benefits from any question. The third person that benefits is the listener. The listener and the lovers of those, or the people that are around those people that either ask the question or provide the answer. Sometimes I ask a question. Sometimes I even might know the answer, but I ask it. Especially in a gathering. When I ask this question, I will allow someone else to learn from this. You might ask a question about salah. You might know the answer, but you know there's one of your friends, for example, or someone in the community that doesn't abide by this thing. Then you ask the question. Ask the question in front of them so that they may learn. The Imams encouraged us by telling us to ask questions, and they also encouraged us by answering the questions. If I can please have everyone's attention. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The Imams encouraged any sort of question. A man came to the Imam. He told the Imam, watch me pray. Just watch me pray. And this man actually thought, he told the Imam, I've read this book, this whole series about prayer. He told the Imam, watch me how I pray. He prayed very comfortably and very well, but the Imam still picked out some things that he was doing wrong. Asking a question, you benefit from it, and other people around you will also benefit. Imam Ali alayhi salam encouraged people all the time. The famous line of the Imam, he said, Saluni qabla an tafqiduni. Ask me before you lose me, for I know of the paths of the skies and the heavens more than I know about the paths of the earth. I know so much about the earth, but I know even more about the skies. Ask me. Did they ask? Yes, they asked. Some of them did. Whole entire books were written about the questions that people asked Imam Ali alayhi salam. Until our day, we benefit from this. Until our day, there are whole our jurisprudence, our law, Islamic law. Some of the things we have because someone from the companions of the Ahlul Bayt asked a question. Being able to do this. There's a whole concept in our jurisprudential law. Al-jahl fil mawdu' or al-jahl fil hukm. That ignorance in the law or ignorance in the situation. There's a whole segment on this in our jurisprudence, in our Islamic law, that came from one question that a man, even half a question, that a man asked the Imam. From a question. That's how much it makes of a difference. Now, when the Imam asked these questions, when the Imam told them, ask me before you lose me, there were people that mocked him. They said, how many hairs do I have in my head? That's some of the questions people asked Imam Ali. The Imam told them, I can answer you. I can tell you how many hairs you have. If I didn't know for a fact you were asking me with ignorance, a mocking question. The Imams encouraged us in many different situations. We go to the second point of our speech, which is the importance of asking. There was once a teacher. Listen to this. There was a teacher. He had a jar, something like this, but a bit bigger. He grabbed the jar in the class. The class was always very silent, rarely asked a question. He placed this jar and he filled the jar with rocks, small rocks. So he told them, after it was full, he told them, is this full? Can it fit any more rocks? They said no. Can it fit anything else? They said no, it's full. So he grabbed small pebbles, very small pebbles. He threw them in. He said, you told me it was full. It fits more pebbles. Is it full now? They said, yes, it's definitely full now. Stop. He grabbed sand. He put sand in the jar. He said, you told me it was full. I was able to fit this much sand in it. Is it full now? They said, yes, now it is definitely full. You with me? They said, now the jar is definitely full. It's got rocks, it's got pebbles, it's got sand. He picked up a bottle of water and he emptied it in the jar. They started laughing. Sometimes, because we do not ask, we don't know what we don't know. I don't understand something, but because I don't ask about it, then I put myself into a predicament. They say that prevention is better than cure. Preventing yourself from getting sick is better than trying to cure yourself after falling sick. So, if I ask a question before I spend my entire life performing an action which I later learn is wrong, ask about it early so that you don't find out in many years to come, whether you're young or you're old. The fathers and the uncles and the brothers, the sisters and the mothers, everyone, no matter what the age, ask the question. Stand, ask one of the elders in the community to watch you pray. Tell them, watch me pray. I want to make sure I'm praying correctly. I don't want to find out in 10 years that the last 10 years were incorrect. There was once a lady, she called up my cousin. Hello. What's the issue? She said, I'm 40 years old and every time I've prayed on my own, not in congregation, I prayed without saying Allahu Akbar. So I did this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. She didn't know. For 40 years she was praying without saying Allahu Akbar. Go and repeat your prayers. Why do I put myself in a predicament? Ask someone to watch you pray. Ask someone about your religious obligations. Are you fulfilling them correctly? There were many questions that came about fasting and about salah in the Q&A that we'll address on Saturday, inshallah. Inshallah, Saturday, 6 o'clock sharp. 6 o'clock sharp for the ladies. And the men, please join us, 6 o'clock on Saturday. We've got 1 hour only to answer about 30 questions, so I doubt we'll get through them. Asking the question. If I build a house and I make one mistake with it, and a second mistake, third mistake, 20 mistakes, this house is going to fall. We've got construction workers here that can tell us this is definitely true. If I build my religion upon misconceptions and doubts, another doubt and another doubt without asking, then these doubts are suddenly going to make me change. I say, what's this religion? Doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense is that why you were asking questions. Religion makes sense. If you have a doubt, reach out to someone to ask. Or if your relatives don't know, tell them to reach out to a scholar. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, Al-amil ala ghayr basira. This is related to the topic, to this point. العامل على غير بصيرة كالسائر على غير طريق فلا يزيده سرعة الطريق إلا بعدا. A person that does stuff without knowledge is just like someone that travels on the wrong road. The faster they travel, the further they become from their destination. If I am on this path following my religion and I don't understand it, then it's like someone driving with the GPS on mute and not knowing where they're going. No matter how fast they travel, they're going to get to a different destination and they're going to become further and further. Imam Ali alayhi salam says in a narration, or he says to Kumail, Ya Kumail, ما من عمل إلا وأنت محتاج به إلى معرفة. There is nothing, absolutely nothing in the world that you don't require knowledge for. Whether I'm going into a business, whether it's religion, whether it's anything in life, studies, I have to learn about it. Learn about it from the technical point of view and the religious point of view. Our religion is a way of life. Our religion doesn't just tell you pray and fast. No, our religion is much more than that. It's a way of life. From the time, this is one of the scholars said, from the time you drink a cup of water to the time you go and empty your bowels, the scholar says there's 70 things that Islam says about just this. From the time you drink water to the time you empty your bowel. 70 recommended actions and laws that Islam has. Islam is a way of life. It's not just a matter of pray and fast and do dua. It's not just that. Learn about your religion. Now, importance of asking questions and the importance of answering them. When my children come and ask me a question, how do I respond to it? Let's think to ourselves. The fathers that are here and also the youth, because you are all going to become fathers in the future. How do I answer other people's questions? You have friends now. When your friends ask you questions, how do you respond to them? When my sons ask me a question, when my daughter asks me a question, for the mothers, your daughters will have questions for you as well. When they ask a question, there's 3 things I must remember. Number 1, listen carefully, listen actively. Number 2, show interest. Yeah, okay, keep going. Ask, yes, that's very good. After they ask, compliment them. Ahsant, mashallah, that's a very good question. And number 3, provide them with a simple answer. If you cannot answer their questions, don't leave that question unanswered. Encourage them with asking any sort of question. Encourage them. Because if they get used to asking questions, then you can guarantee that they are on the right track. They won't leave anything in their mind without or any questions unanswered. There's a Christian, an atheist that was a Christian. He wrote a book. This book was named Why I Left Christianity. His name's Bertrand Russell. This guy, he wrote a book about why he left Christianity. He said, ever since I was young, I used to always ask questions about my religion and no one was able to answer me. My parents never answered me. He went to church and no one answered him. If someone asks a question, answer it for them. Your friends, if they ask you a question, come and ask a scholar. Ask the elders here to reach out to a scholar and get the answer. Don't leave the question. Everything has a question. If someone isn't able to give you the right answer, reach out to someone else. There was once a father. He came back from work, and his son was asking him multiple questions. He was a bit tired. Anyway, he laid down on the couch. His son was asking him questions. How tall is the Eiffel Tower? He said, son, it's a good question, but I didn't build it. I'm not sure. When did World War II happen? Son, I wasn't alive back then. I'm not sure. How big is the Harbour Bridge? Son, I'm not sure. I didn't build it. The mother said, Habibi, leave your father. Let him rest. She said, no, leave him. He's asking very good questions. What's the point of the questions if you don't answer them? No matter what the question is, help them find the answer. Here, let's go on Google and search, how tall is the Eiffel Tower? Help them find the answer. Show them how to use the religious sources. For example, the websites that our scholars have, some of them are very easy to use. Sayyid Sistani, he has a very nice website, very easy to use. Show your children how to use it. Thank you. There you go. We've got the answer. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So, this is why questions is important. I never understand how much I am missing until I ask a question. I never know what I don't know until I ask a question. Now, we live in the time of answers. This is the generation of answers. But are we asking the right questions to the right people or not? What do we have now? We've got ChatGPT. We've got AI, DeepSeek, all of these sources and these functions that we can have access to at our fingertips. Are we utilizing them correctly? That's number one. Now, just a point here. I'll open brackets. If we don't keep up with AI, with ChatGPT, and learn how to use it, then we are going to be set back. Listen here, I encourage people to keep up with this. You can ask ChatGPT, how do I make my parents proud? And it'll tell you. Don't do it now. Do it after the speech. You can ask ChatGPT, what can I do to study and focus in my studies? It will answer you. You can ask ChatGPT many questions. It will help you. You have to learn to keep up, because now ChatGPT and AI is not just about asking it one question and it gives you one answer. The better the question is, the better the answer is. So if you know how to ask a question, then you will receive a good answer. But that's not what it's about only. It's more than that now. I encourage everyone to keep up with it. As one of the brothers, he said, it's like a wave. Not everyone likes waves. Who likes waves? Surfers. Okay? Surfers like waves. If a person moves with the wave, it won't cause any damage to them. If a person stands in front of the wave, then it will break them. It will move them out of the way. It will interfere with them. So move with this wave. However, that's the good thing about ChatGPT and AI. However, this is the warning. The warning is, people think that this is more than what it actually is. I cannot rely on AI for my religion. When it comes to my religion, I have to seek a scholar, someone in the community that's learned, And I ask them the question. You know how many times people have sent me screenshots from ChatGPT? They're like, look at the answer I'm getting. I'm like, look, I'm going to ask it the exact same question. I got a different answer. And then sometimes you get the wrong answer and you tell it, by the way, this is a wrong answer. And it says, yes, you're right. It's actually a wrong answer. Well, why did you give me this answer in the first place? It's a robot. Are you going to hold the robot accountable? You can't hold it accountable. Sometimes it will give you let's say, a story or a narration. And it will give you a source as well. Okay? You click on it, you go look for the narration, you look for it, and you look for it, and you can't find it. You respond, I can't find this narration in this source. It says, you are correct. It's not in here. I can't rely on ChatGPT and on AI for my religious affairs. I must ask the right questions to the right people. So, number one, keep up with it. Number two, don't ask everything to AI. You must know who to ask and what questions to ask. As Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was traveling to Karbala, his son Ali al-Akbar was on a horse next to him. They were both traveling on a horse each. Abi Abdullah al-Hussein dozed off for a second. As he was traveling, they were traveling straight. He dozed off for a second. And then he woke up and he said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong and to Allah we shall return. Ali al-Akbar said, oh father, why do you say this? Is there something wrong that's happened? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says, as I dozed off for a second, I saw a man on a horseback saying that they are traveling and death is traveling with them and they are traveling towards death, as in the caravan of Abi Abdullah. So Ali al-Akbar told his father, again asking questions. They both know what's right, but just asking a question to allow comfort. Ali al-Akbar asked his father, Ya Abba, alasna ala al-haq? Aren't we on the right path? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says, Na'am bunay, nahnu ala al-haq. Ali al-Akbar said, لا نبالي أوقعنا على الموت أم وقع الموت علينا. That we don't fear if death was to fall upon us or if we were to fall upon death. This is the beautiful nature of Ali al-Akbar. Not just a son, an advisor. An advisor to his dad. Giving his dad comfort in such situations. Oh, father, we don't worry. It's not that Imam Hussein was worried, but he gives comfort to his father. This was Ali al-Akbar. Salamullah ta'ala alayhi. They say that when the companions of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein were all killed, and the only men that were left in the camp of Imam al-Hussein, Abi Abdullah alayhi salam, were his family members. So they each bid each other farewell. They said their goodbyes to each other. The first to come forward from the family of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein was Ali al-Akbar, the eldest son of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The Imam looked at his son and he told him, oh son, if you were to go now, then the enemies will surround us. They will come closer. But they realized there was no other chance. There was no other opportunity. There was no other solution. Ali al-Akbar had to go. He had to sacrifice himself. And whoever went and fought the enemies, this was goodbye. There's no seeing them again. That's why the Imam hugged Ali al-Akbar. They both hugged each other. and they cried. Imagine leaving your eldest son. Leaving him and knowing he's going to be killed. They hugged each other and they cried until they both collapsed to the ground. They both fainted from how much they cried. So then the Imam gave his son Ali al-Akbar permission to fight. Ali al-Akbar mounted his horse and charged towards the enemies. With his sword wielding in his hand, he called, Ana Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali. I am Ali, the son of Hussein, the son of Ali. تالله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي. By God, no wicked will rule over me. أضرب بالسيف أحامي عن أبي. I hit you with my sword defending my father. ضرب غلام هاشمي علوي. A loyal warrior from the Hashemite fire. Imam al-Hussein called, he said, اللهم اشهد على هؤلاء القوم فقد برز إليهم غلام أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسولك. Oh Allah, bear witness on these people, for the greatest resemblance of the Prophet has come out to fight them. فإنهم دعونا لينصرونا ثم عداوا علينا يقاتلون. For they called us so they can support us, and then they turned against us to fight us. Then the Imam turned towards Umar ibn Sa'd. He said, Ya Umar, ma lak qata'a Allahu rahimak kama qata'ta rahimi. Oh Umar, may Allah cut your lineage just like you cut off my lineage. Just like you want to kill my son, may Allah kill your son. So Ali al-Akbar began fighting courageously until he killed 200 of the enemies. He went back to the tents. Why did he go back to the tents? Listen to this. If your heart doesn't break now, then you have to try and cry. Try and cry for Ali al-Akbar. Put your head down and cry. He said, Oh Father, Ya Abati al-Atash qad qatalani. Oh Father, the thirst is killing me. وثقل الحديد قد أجهدني. And the heavy armor overwhelms me. It is so heavy, oh Father. فهل لي لا شربة من ماء. Imagine this, your father is thirsty. He doesn't have water. And you come up to him and you say, Oh Father, give me some water to drink. Imagine the heart of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. His heart was shattered. He said, Oh son, Ya bunay, inna laka kasan madkhuran عند جدك رسول الله عند جدك أمير المؤمنين. That, oh son, there's a cup of water waiting for you with your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. أجركم Allah, my condolences to you, صاحب العصر والزمان. So he returned to the battlefield and fought the enemies bravely and reminded them of the courage of Amir al-Mu'mineen. An enemy by the name of Murrat ibn Munqidh, he came up to Ali al-Akbar from behind him. فَضَرَبَهُ بِالسَّيْفِ على رأسه. He hit him with the sword on his head. The blood started gushing out. They say his head was split into two. And then the blood started running on the eyes of the horse. So he grabbed the head of the horse. What should happen is the horse is supposed to take him to the camp of his father. But because the blood was on the eyes of the horse took him accidentally to the camp of the enemies. So the enemies began stabbing him with their spears. هذا يطعن برمحه وهذا يضربه بسيفه. And the other hits him with the sword. رحم الله من نادى وعليا وأكبر. He called out, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, adrikni Aba ya Hussein. Oh Father Hussein, come and help me. He said that his father came, he ran to him, he found him cut into pieces. فَقَطَّعُوهُ إِرَبًا تشابك ويا الأكبر واللي وناح وظل يصفج عليه الراح بالراح. يقل العدا سلت بيض ورماح. يا ابويا شلون بيني هذا الوداع، يا ابويا شلون بين هذا الوداع. يقل يا علي بخافة الصوت اشوفك يا الولد مستعجل الموت. تراهي خيول ومية بساحتي تفوت جنك عازم على فراقي بساعة. نعم أتى إليه أبي عبد الله شاف والنبل شابج. علي راح هو فوق وصفق راح. على الراح علي راح صاحب صوت يا زينب. علي راح يا خويا ظلمت الدنيا عليا. يا خويا ظلمت الدنيا يا علي. علي راح يا زينب قومي سنديني. علي راح تعالي وعاونيني بشد الجراح. علي راح يا زينب قومي سنديني. علي راح أشيله شلون لمه أخاف تموت يمه أخاف تموت يمه. علي راح إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. اللهم كن لوليك